Hey guys, it's Evan Luzai from the Black and Blue, and this is the very first video in a series I'm going to be doing called Lessons from Vegas. If you've been reading my site for a while, you may have caught on to the fact that one of the very first movies that I ever worked on was an independent feature film out in Las Vegas. It was one of my biggest jobs and one of my first as a first AC, and so I kind of got thrown into the fire and ended up learning all sorts of things about how to run the camera department, how to pull focus, you know, just how to live on location. And so there were a lot of lessons that I gleaned from just sort of being thrown out there and just having to deal with all this stuff coming at me like a tidal wave. And so I want to take a series of videos and cover some of these topics that I learned at shooting in a big city on location for the first time. And today is called Why Shooting on Location is Like Going to Summer Camp. And this is something that many of you may have felt before and just not articulated it, or you just didn't even realize, but it's definitely true. And there's a lot of similarities to going to a summer camp or going on location for an extended period of time to shoot a feature film. When I went out to Vegas, we were out there for a month and a half shooting, where you're away from friends and family and you're just in a whole new area, and you're also with the same people all the time. So I just kind of want to cover three different areas of why summer camp and shooting on location are very similar. The first is that you can't leave. You know, you're very limited in your mobility when you're in a different city. Maybe you don't have access to a car, or maybe you're dependent on somebody else's car. You also just don't know as many places to go. You tend to stick in the areas around you, or if there is somebody who's a local, you ask them where to go, or they'll show you around. And for me, you know, I'm based on the East Coast in the US. When I was out in Vegas, I really couldn't leave unless I wanted to pony up a couple $100 for an airplane ticket. But why would I? I'd be ditching the production and they had already bought me a ticket to go home, but at the end of the shoot. The fact of the matter is that you just can't get away. And in summer camp, you know, as much fun as you're having, there's just times where you want to be by yourself, or you want to be somewhere familiar, or you want to be somewhere comfortable. Basically, you get homesick. And it happens too when you're on location, you know. Anytime you're away for a long period of time, you're going to start missing friends, you're going to start missing family. Especially when you're working really long days, and you come home and you come back to a hotel room, or you come back to a crew house, and it's not home, you know, it's not your bed, and you're not seeing your girlfriend or your boyfriend or your wife or your husband and being able to talk to them and just sort of get things off your chest. You go back to the crew house and or the hotel, and you're with the crew who you were with the whole day. And so that's sort of the second area that I want to cover, is that you're with the same people the entire time. Just like in summer camp, you go away, you're going to be spending both day and night with the same counselors, with the same people in your bunk. When you're shooting on location, the same people that you're working with are the same people that you're going to dinner with, that you're going out to bars and having drinks with. You know, so you better hope you like them, and most of the time you do end up liking them. But it's just a whole different experience than shooting as a local, where you can leave set and go out with friends who aren't in the film industry, or you can come home and have dinner with your family. When you're on location, you know, you're going out with the exact same people that you just spent 12 hours, maybe more, shooting with. And so that's just, it's kind of a unique position to be in, just having to learn to not only work with the same people every day for that long and for that many long hours, but also to learn to live with them. You know, when I was out in Vegas, I was staying in a crew house with the producer, and I actually shared a room with my second AC. And so, you know, we got along fine, but there are just some days where I wanted to come back and have space to myself and just relax, and, you know, it just wasn't possible, and that was just the situation that I was in. And so that's something that you kind of have to learn to deal with, and that you encounter in summer camp too, when you come back to a bunk full of, you know, 10, 20 people, when really all you want to do is shut the door to your room and just kind of have me time. And so the third area I want to cover, of course, is that you're going to have tons of fun. You have tons of fun when you shoot on location, and you know, you complain about it, you bitch and you moan, and it seems awful while it's going on. The 15-hour days suck, and you know, they never have the right lunch at Crafty, and the producer's always getting on your case. But then you look back on it, and it actually turns out that you had so much fun, and maybe you don't want to go live through it again, but you learned some lessons just like I did, or you had some great experiences. You come back with some good stories. You know, when I was in Vegas, the amount of stories that I racked up are absurd, and you've read about a lot of them on the site. And so it was a really tough shoot, but I would do it in an instant again, because I made some good friends. I had a lot of fun looking back on it, and I learned some really valuable lessons. And so I'm looking forward to sharing more of those with you in the upcoming videos, and I hope you tune in for them. So look out for them in the future, and thanks for listening, guys. Bye.